Where the hell is the government? Where's the governor? Where's greasy Gavin Newsom? Where are all these magical gay and lesbian firefighters? What the hell is going on in California? Why is California still on fire in the winter in California? Why? This is out by the Lake Castaic, where many of us used to go to in the summers to go, jet skiing. In the winters, we would go there to go see snow. It's not too far from the city. I'm a city boy from Los Angeles. Unbelievable. Now, what they're not telling you is that they're going to likely have to evacuate the local prisons. One of the prisons they're not evacuating, I believe this is Wayside. It looks like Wayside. It could be, but I'm not sure from the air. But Wayside is one of the prison complexes. It's actually where a lot of juvenile children are sent when they're convicted of crimes at young ages. Many of my friends and family have spent a lot of time at Wayside. But that's how close this fire is right now. So it went from 1,000 acres from 500 acres to 10,000 acres plus in less than 20 minutes. So this is a huge, massive fire. Now, it's also threatening something that is called the hydrothermal electric power plant, where there is water that is dammed, and it actually is like the Hoover Dam, and it powers a lot of Los Angeles. They're not warning the public about it, but the reports are it's actually really close to threatening the hydroelectric power plant, which powers Los Angeles. The entire plant could burn down. There's also a water treatment facility out this way that services all of Los Angeles with water from Northern California. That's where it's processed and then it's sent through the pipes. That could also burn down. The strategy they used is they dug huge trenches around certain facilities so that when the fire makes it there, the fire would go down into the troughs and it would luckily just stay there and not just continue advancing and burn down these facilities. But for how long can that last? This is unseasonable. It's unseasonal. It's unnatural. It makes no sense. And there's really nothing anybody can do about it. Nothing. All the power and prayers from the lesbian bishops of West Hollywood and the rest of the country can do nothing against these fires. Diversity can do nothing against these fires. Diversity in hiring, diversity of ideas. I have not seen one diverse idea from anybody gay or lesbian on what to do to stop these fires or how to put them out. So what the hell were these people talking about when they fired all of the best firemen that we had just so that they can bring in a bunch of overweight lesbians and hopefully listening to them so that they can look like the people who they're fighting the fight? What the fuck does fire look? Fire's not diverse. Fire looks the same. We need people that are going to be fearless, that are going to stop these from spreading. Luckily, a lot of homes are not being threatened. However, in other videos, let's see here. You can see that Magic Mountain is actually, let's see here. You can see
another fire emergency in Southern California tonight. The Hughes fire burning out of control near Castaic. The latest on the fight against the wind-driven flames from the ground and the air.
And more than 50,000 people under evacuation orders or warnings.
The night sky. This video was taken at...
This is Magic Mountain theme park. These are the fires in the background. Look how close this is to literally burning down the entire Magic Mountain theme park. Look how close this is.
6 o'clock tonight. It lasted for...
Look at this. So if you're riding the Cyclone, or if this is Ninja, one of them, I grew up at Magic Mountain. It's in the hills. It's in the mountains. What is it? Not Santa Clarita. It's in Valencia, I believe. And look, right on the other side of that mountains, just extreme fire, high Santa Ana winds. and no way to put these fires out. Look at what these people saw in these neighborhoods earlier. Finally, she's happy. You get to wear your mask.
Thick black smoke looming over surface streets snarled with traffic.
Look at that smoke. Look at this out here in these canyon country communities. Because we call this the canyon country. Look at the canyon country communities. Look at that plume of smoke. Unreal.
Wind-driven flames prompting the closure of Interstate 5 from the Grapevine to State Route 126 for several hours.
The Grapevine is the name of the freeway complex that comes from Southern California, and the 5 goes north, and then it branches off to 2 highways, the 101, or you can stay on the 5, and you would take the 5 to go through. You can also cut to another freeway and go to Tulare, Fresno, Bakersfield, or you could take the 5 up, or you could take the 101. It's a really big state, but that's where it kind of branches off. And the Grapevine is this narrow area in these mountains where the winds are extremely high, and they're known for being so strong they push over big rigs. So yeah, we hear about the winds in the Grapevine, but this time of year to see fires spreading like this out of control and no suggestion, no diversity in thought from the lesbians, what the hell are we doing?
For reopening by 7 p.m.
These fires, they grow very quickly, and they, due to the weather, the topography, and the fuels that we're seeing, it went pretty quick.
Fire Captain Jay Tracy is from the city of Fresno, now a designated spokesperson for the Hughes Fire, one of the thousands of firefighters who responded to SoCal's wildfire crisis. He says roughly 4,000 firefighters are battling the blaze, including a massive air attack using airplanes and helicopters.
2 VLATs, which are the very large air tankers, which are the DC-10s. They have some large air tankers, which are C-130s, some of the B-2s, and some of the other craft that are a little bit smaller in size. And then they have a lot of the different rotor aircraft available. You saw the LA County Firehawks flying a little bit earlier.
What's the biggest challenge tonight in terms of containing this fire, just trying to stay on top of it?
Well, the biggest challenge is they've got the resources, and they're just trying to effectively put them to use. At night, it's always a little more precarious. You're in really steep and very rugged terrain, so it's hard to get boots on the ground into these areas.
Absolutely. But also, if you look at it, these planes, these helicopters, these firefighters, and literally it's still less than 15% contained. So that means 85% is still growing and spreading because it needs more vegetation to grow. Fire essentially is alive. There's no diverse ways to kill this fire, put it out, stop it. Like I said, they were able to save a couple of facilities so far, but the night is young. The winds can change, the trajectory of the fires can change, and they will have to evacuate these prisons. They're going to have to. They're going to have to evacuate Wayside. I believe there's another one called Pinell or Pines. There's another one out in that area. But what I'm worried about is the hydrothermal electric power plants. Those are the ones that are actually at risk, and it's the middle of the night. And if this is a coordinated attack, like we suspect it is, then they want to hit certain facilities. They're not just burning these fires that are not threatening any homes for no reason. Something is going on. And it's really hard to put your finger on it because no one's going to tell you the truth. No one.
Now, in the Castaic area, thousands of evacuees are back home tonight, but thousands more are still waiting to return as firefighters gain ground on the Hughes fire. KCAL's Lauren Poser is live in Castaic tonight, where people tell us they're feeling fire fatigue. I'm sure they are, Lauren.
Pat, that's absolutely right. You know, this is one of the neighborhoods that was under that mandatory evacuation order. And while everyone is so grateful and happy to be home tonight and to have homes to go back to, there's no question they're drained both mentally and physically. Porch lights are on, cars are back in the driveways, and the people that make up this North Lake neighborhood are home.
It's definitely relieving to be back home and see that everybody's houses were safe.
Victoria Cheer and her family were among the more than 31,000 people who had to evacuate as the Hughes fire ignited Wednesday.
We were going to see if we could get back in what it looked like. We noticed that exits were closed and the streets were closed, and we were like, it's not looking good to come back tonight.
Cheer.
I'm sorry. We have no governor. We have no leadership. We have there's no way to stop anything that's happening. These neighborhoods in Palisades and Altadena, these neighborhoods, these areas that are now completely burned to the ground, that have been wiped. And whether you want to believe that it was magical embers that could burn up roofs that were fireproof, or if you understand that there's always been a problem since the invention of the smart meter that they can be remotely detonated to explode and burn up houses. Either way, there's really no way to stop these fires. But these neighborhoods, these communities have existed for generations. And we've been dealing with this for years, forever. Every year this happens, but never this, not this severity in Southern California, and not this time of year. But it does happen. I'll be honest, as of right now, there's no one has any solutions. There's no solution. So there's no way to stop it from happening again. So why would you rebuild knowing that this is a possibility? People bring up, why would you build in an area where you know it's going to have an earthquake? How often do earthquakes happen? That's a real act of nature. Fires can be prevented. Fires can be put out. But in this situation, the way these are going and how this is happening, it's not something that really we're equipped to handle. I understand if insurance companies going forward, regardless of the reason, are not going to insure these homes. The state is going to eventually activate eminent domain. These properties will be owned by the city, by the county, or by the state. It will be owned by the government. The means of production to provide insurance to the remaining properties will also be owned by the government. The only people that will provide insurance will be the state government. California went communist years ago. The means of production will come from the state, not from private business owners, not from the private sector. So it will be essentially communism, and it's gradually going there. In the absence of Gavin Newsom, I don't know who his successor would be, if he'll be able to continue this path, but they're going to have to be somebody that's ideologically driven, that's going to want to maintain the status quo of how things are going right now. So that's what you're going to have to worry about, who's going to be next behind the wheel of this car that is literally crashing into a wall in slow motion while you watch with a 3D drone camera spinning around. And there's really nothing you can do. You're just in the back seat, handcuffed. This is amazing that this is still happening weeks and days and weeks later. And it's not getting any better. These can actually just pop up at any time. Those things can go off. If there's something flying above that, I just don't know how you can create a beam to start a fire at nighttime, but in the daytime, absolutely. This is my hometown. I know these cities very well. I know the Canyon country very well. I know the Valley. I know Valencia. I know LA. It's hard to watch my hometown burn. Even though I was just snowed in yesterday in Houston, my hometown is burning. And you want to tell people to leave. A lot of people are leaving, but other people are just, we're so comfortable in California. That's all we know. We don't even travel. Most people I know from Los Angeles has never been anywhere past Las Vegas. And they've only been to Vegas twice. So it's hard for us to give up California, but it's a big country. And, I don't want to live in a 15-minute city. And if that's what's slated to happen in Houston, I won't be living here. So we're going to have to make these decisions. We're going to have to make them quick. Okay, do me a favor, smash the like and subscribe button on YouTube. The link is in my bio. Follow the Instagram page, or follow us on Instagram as well. And Rumble is where we're actually based out of. I'll be back on in a few minutes. We're going to do a whole thing about how, Donald Trump just kicked Klaus Schwab's ass today at Davos. And he basically put the globalists in a chokehold. Everyone was scared to death to see him. And he went there and he gloated in their faces because all of these people, including George Soros, who's literally one of the leaders of the Davos group, said that Trump would never come back as president and he would be a temporary threat to them. And now he had to eat those words the way Klaus Schwab eats. We're going to keep it family friendly. So I'll be back on in a few minutes. Thank you. Like and subscribe to the page, and I'll see you shortly.
After a ton of stress and worry because of my super low credit score, We were finally able to sign on my dream apartment. I wouldn't have been able to do it without cosigning.com. I was able to get a guarantor that was signed with me so that I could obtain this amazing apartment.